Flosstube, welcome to CreaTube Studio. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have so much to go over with you today. What did I do last week? What happened? So the grandkids, okay, so my last video was on Tuesday of last week, which means it hasn't even been a full week. There's not a lot for me to show you as far as progress, but I have some interesting things. I do have a fully finished piece too. So it'll be good. Thursday we had the grandkids, and they were something else. They were a handful as usual. I think I told you before that Brianna is working 4/10s. So instead of getting here at 10:30, they get here at 11:30. And then she came to pick them up, and her husband got a hold of her and said, we need to go look at this house because they're trying to find a place to move to. And so she left again and didn't get back till 10. So we had the kids, oh my gosh, for the longest that we've ever had, both of them. And completely wiped out. I slept 9 hours, guys. Not completely. I mean, there's no way. I mean, you have to check my pulse if I slept 9 hours and didn't wake up. But I got up several times to go to the bathroom. That's just how it is when you get my age. But still, I woke up because I went to bed at 10. Like the minute they left, like 5 to 10 when they walked out the door. And I'm like, good night, Kevin. Love you, but I'm going to bed. I woke up at 5, which that's 7 hours of sleep, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to lay here for a minute. And I fell back to sleep. I couldn't believe it. I fell back to sleep for 2 more hours. We call it the Easton and Ellery hangover. Even the dog is like, it just lays around the whole next day and is completely exhausted. It's too funny. They are a whirlwind. They are hilarious. The stuff they say, the stuff they do, it's all good. It's just a lot of fun. Announcements. You guys, I have an error on one of my new designs, and I'm really upset about it. I don't understand how I can look at something so much and not even notice that there's an error. I charted it, you know, when it came back, I sent it to Amana, I get it back. I love it. I read it several million times, I swear. But it says plump snowman and sly foxes too. It should say plump snowmen because it's plural. There's 3 snowmen on there. So I was really bummed about that. I posted in Instagram stories, and I mean, it happens, right? It happens. So I changed the chart, and then I was going through the comments on my last YouTube, or my last Flosstube, because I'm looking for questions or things that need addressed before I start my new Flosstube. And someone says, frolic does not have a K in it unless it's used as a verb, like frolicking or I frolicked in the snow. I didn't know that, obviously. So I recharted it again. I took the K out. I moved frolic over a little bit, kind of spaced it so that it looks good. But 2 errors on one chart, guys. So I have to go, thank goodness we haven't started shipping them yet, but I have to go through all of the patterns that Kevin has stuffed and put a new page in there. Yep. But like the English language, I'm sorry, there, and there, you know, just frolic. You add a K to frolic if you put an ED or ING. What is that? So anyway, I don't know what to say. That's just what it is. Oh, and I totally forgot about doing this too. someone had suggested when I do my new releases to show the sketch or the art that was the inspiration for the piece. Forgot to do that. So I'm going to pause right now and gather that for you. First up, we have the Fabulous Monsters. So this whole row of Fabulous Monsters has been charted now. Anyway, the one I just released is Creepin' Jack. Skelly Skellington, I know, was one of the first ones, along with this guy, I believe. I forget what his name is. And then we had Groovy Gary and Frightened Fred. That was the second release. Then we had Creepin' Jack, and then we got this guy, which is Krabby and Kooky. Oops. And then I think I mentioned, yes I did, in my new release video that I charted the Fabulous Monsters logo as well. On an angle like that, just kind of fill in that spot. So yeah, this whole row is done, and then I have several more to come. So I'm releasing those, 2 at a time in one pattern. Then we had, these are the sketches for the ornaments. So as you can see, I had drawn a little jingle bell at the bottom, but because I went around with the mini pom-pom, I didn't think it needed that on the bottom. So yeah, that's how I came up with that concept. And this was, God, when did I sketch that? Oh, okay, so no, I think that was 2019. At the very front of this book, I have some notes, and it's September of 2018, actually. No, this is a 2018 book, so wow. This was November 2018, so 3 years ago I sketched these. That's right, because in 2019 I came out with those in punch needle. It's all coming back to me now, guys. I have it right in my sketchbook. Plump snowmen. I have it right in. I just noticed that. Oh my gosh, that's insane. Oh geez. So anyways, here are the sketches for the 2 pillows that I released. My gosh, that's funny. Kind of ticks me off even more though. So anyway, I gotta try to remember now, from now on, when I show my new releases, I think it's kind of interesting for you to see where it came from. Did it come from a piece of art? Was it a sketch? And if I don't have anything to show you, it's because I just designed it right in the computer program, which is what I mostly do for my samplers. All right, I am planning something really fun for Christmas. I've got a couple things. One's for Patreon, so I'm not going to go into that. But the other one is I'm going to do a Vlogmas. So I'm going to post every single day. Instead of posting every single day in December, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. My plan was to start the day after Thanksgiving. But I'm usually dead on the floor because we have like 30 people come for dinner, and I prep for like a week, cleaning every crevice in my house and just like a deep, deep clean and just get everything perfect. And I start cooking 2 days before, like making the pies and things like that you can make ahead of time. It's a zoo here for a good week. And I'm usually exhausted on Friday. So I don't know if I'm going to start it then. And then my birthday is New Year's Eve. So I thought, well, I could go through Christmas and then, keep doing it up to my birthday. I don't know. But anyways, there's going to be a minimum of like probably 25 videos. And I have been sketching like a crazy woman in my sketchbook, all Christmas designs. So I'm going to do a painting a day. They're going to be watercolor, smaller paintings. I can't do like big canvases, every day. There's no way. I mean, if there's a day where I have an entire day where I can just paint, I might do something a little bigger. But the sketches, I'm so excited to paint them. So they'll be in watercolor. They are going to be speed painting videos. I'm either going to do a voiceover or I'm going to just play Christmas music while you watch me paint. I have a list of things that I'm going to do. So I'm buying like 26 gifts for Kevin. Little things, you know, that he can open every single day. I think it was 26. I think that's what I decided to do the day. Anyway. And I'm going to record him opening his gift. There's going to be giveaways, and it's going to be on my art channel. It's not going to be here. It's going to be over on my art channel, and the giveaways will include mostly my art prints. And it will be things that maybe I pre-pick, or it could be like at the end, I might give away some of the original paintings that I painted during that time, during the Vlogmas. What else? I had all kinds of, I'm going to go through the history of Christmas and how it all came to be. I've been researching that, and that's been really fun. I've got Christmas decorations and Christmas antique things that I want to share. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. I just hope that it's not too much work for me. I'm trying to do the work a little bit every day now so that when it comes, I'm not like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into type of thing. But Christmas was a real downer for a while for me after my dad passed, and then my mom moved to Florida. So Christmas changed completely from what it used to be. And now also the grandkids are getting older. So we are making new traditions, and just having kids around, little kids around at Christmas time, it just really, it just brings it all back again and makes it more magical. So I just wanted to share my excitement about Christmas because I love the holiday season, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So we're going to do some fun things for the Vlogmas. So join me over there. I'll have a link below to my other YouTube channel. So I want to do it over there because I have so many videos already here on Flosstube, and it's going to be about painting. I'm going to paint every day. So I thought it would make more sense to have it on my art channel. So join me over there. All right, Q&A. A couple questions. Cheryl asked, she was commenting on my last video, love seeing your goodies, hearing about everything. One thing, I don't know who Kyle is. Can you please let me know? Thanks. Kyle Rekemeyer, I answered her there, but if you don't follow Kyle Rekemeyer, you need to. He's Stitching in Sound on Instagram and on YouTube. He is a phenomenal stitcher. He's funny. But his stitching in what he stitches is just will knock your socks off. You know, he does beading. He likes Teresa Wensler. He likes, is it called Hades? No, Mirabilias. He does Mirabilias. He does big and gorgeous samplers. So yeah, check him out. I'll have him linked below. The other question was from Catherine. She said, what's the Nashville event you keep talking about? And so that is my bad. I'm so used to, because we've explained what it is, you know, quite often, other, you know, Flosstubers and myself as well, but, you know, so we don't explain it every single time because people that watch us all the time would get tired of hearing it. So I kind of forget that some people might be just joining my channel or just starting to cross stitch or what have you, and they have no idea what we're talking about. So the Nashville market that we talk about, it is a wholesale market open to the trade only. So it is held in Nashville. It's not actually in Nashville. It's outside of Nashville. And it's at the Embassy Suites. We set up, we as in designers and people that make and dye floss, almost said wool, linen. There's distributors there, people that do punch needle. There's some needlepoint there. But anyways, we set up in our suite. So the back is where we sleep and where our bathroom and all that is. And then the front part of our room, we transform it into a showroom. And that's where we release a lot of our new charts or patterns or what have you, whatever it is you're selling. That's where you bring all your new stuff. I always bring a lot of old stuff too that's still very popular, because you never know when you're going to have a new shop come in that is just opening a shop or something. So you don't want just your new stuff there. And it's an amazing time. It's Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. It is so much fun, and it's where the shops come to fill their stores with all the good stuff that you guys want. So it's cash and carry, which means the stores come, some of them bring U-Hauls, or they have a van, or they have some kind of big vehicle, and they can buy it right there and bring it home. They can, a lot of them, which I didn't know this when I first started doing, actually, I've been doing the Nashville show for a long time, when I realized that a lot of the stores will go back to their room and start posting on their websites and pricing things in their room. And that way, when they get back to their store, they can just put it out and it's ready to sell. Some stores come back and they'll do a big event and have, you know, like a showing, or a kind of like a Nashville market palooza, you could say, you know. So anyway, every store has their own way of doing it, but it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And 2020 was the last one we had. We got home and a week later, everything shut down. So we got through that one by the skin of our nose. I mean, skin of our nose, skin of our teeth. I think it's skin of our teeth. Anyways, yeah. And then that didn't happen in 2021. We did a virtual show, which was Needlework Expo. So anyways, we're really excited. 2022 looks like everything's full steam ahead, and we're going to all be together again. And it's like we should stay an extra day, but you can't really stay an extra day because you got to get home. We always sell out of certain patterns, and we have to get home and, you know, make more inventory and ship stuff out. But come a day early and just everyone just hang out and do fun stuff together, because we all miss each other so much. So that was a really long explanation. My bad. But that is what the Nashville market is. Moving on to whips. I worked on Sally Emerson. I didn't bring it to show you because I did a window. I mean, it's like maybe 15 stitches. And then I started another window. So it wasn't enough to really mess with. And I do have two works in progress in my art part of my business. So CW Live is a painting class that I host on Facebook in a private group for those who have, you know, paid to be a part of the group. And I teach painting lessons on there. So this is just the beginning. We just got started. It's horses. I don't have many paintings with horses in them. I think this might be like the third one I've ever painted. It's going to be Americana. It's a Pennsylvania Dutch style painting, and I can show you the sketch. This is what it will look like. This is a Ronald Reagan quote, and it says, "We are never defeated unless we give up on God." And I can't wait to get this done. My other work in progress is this painting. I got a lot more done on that during Witcha Paintin' Wednesday. So yeah, I have to get this done. My calendar artwork is due by the end of October. So basically I have this coming week. Okay guys, I have an FFO. And I bet you, if you've been watching me, you know which one it is. It is Kindness is Free. I got it done and FFO'd. Something's in the air because there is a glaring mistake on this. What is the deal with my mistakes lately? I'm not going to point it out to you, but it is a glaring mistake. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like every time I look at this piece now, I see it. So I'm not like super excited to have this on display in my studio, but it is a progress report, I guess you could say. I mean, this is the third piece I have finished stitching. It's the second piece I did, I haven't fully finished yet, and it's part of a new release down the road, so I can't show it anymore. So yeah, this is only the third piece that I have completed the stitching. I finished it on a book. It has homespun. I adhered the stitch piece to sticky board, and then I measured it, and then I cut out another piece of sticky board, covered it with homespun, and then hot glued it to this book. So my first piece that I fully finished and stitched, I dated it and I wrote on there, this is my first cross stitch piece ever, and I dated it and signed it. So on this one, I'm numbering them. This is how I plan to do this, so I can see the progress. And then when I'm gone someday and my kids, you know, they can look at it and say, wow, Mom really sucked when she started cross stitching. October 2021, Kindness is Free is a chart I designed and gave away free on my website. August of 2021. This is only my third cross stitch project that I have stitched. There are unfortunately several mistakes, one of which I would have fixed had I noticed it before fully finishing it to this book. And I have a number 3 here. Yeah, so had I noticed it, like I didn't notice it, I don't know how I didn't notice it until I had already adhered it to the sticky board, and I just didn't want to pull it off and end up ruining the piece. So there you go. But it's cute. The piece is cute. The legs on this bird, I can't figure out where I went wrong, because to me the spacing between the birds and her and the hearts, everything looks right, but the way his feet came down, they didn't match up like they were supposed to. It's supposed to be like this bird. So I don't know what happened there. I looked at it, Kevin and I both looked at it, and I don't know where I went wrong. And the other piece, I'm sure you've seen it by now. It's so embarrassing, you guys. But yeah, can you totally see? I'm like, why does that look bent? And I was thinking it was the way I stretched it, looked at it, and I'm like, oh, no, that is just a stitch in the wrong spot. And it's like all I can see. So anyway, I guess if you're from a distance, you don't see it. But this piece can be found on my website, and I will have it linked in the description box below if this is something that you would like to stitch as well. I had one person send in a fully finished piece, and I'll share that with you now. Her name is Jackie Malone, and she stitched Moon Dance. She said, Teresa, I'm so excited I got this done. You have an undeniable touch with Halloween. It would be a thrill for me for you to show it on your Flosstube. I think it's another example for people to see. You don't necessarily need to do the full coverage background. I love the swirling wind design of the background, but knew I would never get it done. With all of the great fabrics out there, sometimes you can let the fabric do the work and be part of the design. I could also see this on a modeled purple fabric too. So she stitched it on 28 count cashel linen. The thread is Witching Hour sampler threads, the gentle art. And then the moon, she did half stitches in DMC glow in the dark thread. She said it really doesn't glow in the dark, but like the effect in normal light. Self-finished on a $12 8x10 frame from Michaels. I had framing department cut black mat board to mount it on. Found trick-or-treat ribbon in the aisle and attached it with acid-free double-sided stitchy tape. Love your art. It exudes so much joy. Jackie, that is so sweet. Thank you very much. And oh my gosh, that fabric is absolutely perfect for that piece. So basically, she has it on orange fabric, and she stitched all of the black. So and it was basically just the exact opposite of what is charted. So the black here you see is just negative space. It was stitched on black fabric, and then all of the stitches are the background. So yeah, so that's very cool. A lot more stitching is done in the background than on the tree and the witch and all of that black area. So yep, that's a great alternative. Okay, I have a little bit of haul this week. One day I had some charts I wanted to send out. They were freebies. I did a live in my Patreon group, and everybody that was on the live, if they stayed to the end, they get a free chart. So this was a while ago. This was before I went on the retreat, and I didn't have them sent out. So I was sending those out, and our mail lady, it's hard to say when she's going to come. She can come at 11 a.m., but it's usually noon or after. Sometimes it'll be 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It just depends on her, workload and her deliveries. Well, it was getting close to noon, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get these charts up there. So I start walking. So my studio to the house is about 300 feet. And then, there's another additional however many feet to get to the mailbox. So I'm walking up the little road that we have between the house and the studio, and I can hear her truck coming down the road. So when I can hear her truck, that means she's on our street. Our street is a dead-end street, and once she passes our house, she goes around the curve, and there's only 2 houses. So she goes around the curve, she turns around, and she has the next house, and then she's at ours. So it doesn't take long. Like once you hear her, if you're in the studio, you have to run as fast as you can. Well, at least I was already on the way up there, but I started running. This is my exercise for the day. And she gave, we talked for a little bit. She gave me, a couple pieces of mail and then this bag. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what's in the bag. I get so excited. I never know what it's going to be. I forget what I order. So I'm walking back to the studio and I'm opening the bag. Well, inside the bag were pouches that I ordered, that I ordered them from the manufacturer that makes the pouches, but I also offered these in my Etsy shop. So I'm walking back to the studio and I'm opening them and I'm like, oh, I'm just getting so excited because I love these. They are just so handy to have. And then I hear her coming back and I'm like, uh-oh, she forgot to give me something. So she drives down the driveway to the studio and she says, I think I was supposed to have you sign that for that package. And I gave her the bag back and she read it and she's like, yeah, I was supposed to have you sign for it. So she's getting that done and I'm taking all these pouches out of the plastic bags. And I said, hey, you want one of these? And she goes, well, what are they? I said, they're pouches with my artwork on them. And she goes, do you have an angel one? And I goes, yeah, I do. And so I gave it to her and she's like, oh my gosh, you're so nice. But this woman is nice. Like she goes above and beyond. She is so kind. In the winter, it can get really icy on our driveway and the driveway down here. But she fell one year. She was like off for a while. We didn't see her. And then when Kevin went to the post office, they said, yeah, she's been off because she fell in your driveway. And I'm like, oh, it felt horrible. Absolutely horrible. But like you can put all the salt and everything you want on your driveway. But if it's ice and it's really, really cold, that salt's not doing anything. So yeah, we felt really, really bad, but she's so sweet. And so I randomly give her stuff when I see her. And I thought, well, if she comments and says, man, I really like that pouch, I'm probably going to give her another angel one because these are just handy. Okay. Anyway, that was a long way to get to this, but I just want to show you the ones that I ordered. I uploaded a bunch of new ones. Oh, I can't remember. I want to say it was before I went. Yeah, it was before I went to the retreat because then I placed an order and they came. They take about a week to come. A week and a half. I love this one. A friend loves at all times. Proverbs 17:17. That Pennsylvania Dutch folk art style that I absolutely love. And this is a painting that I sold. And, I can't keep all my paintings, especially because they're big. This was a very large painting. And I sold it and makes me kind of sad. But I wanted you to know wanted you to know that if you order a white zipper, the inside is white as well, okay? Most of the designs, I think it's all but 2 of the designs are the same on the front and back, okay? So anyway, there's that one. There's Christmas Primitives. I'm bummed that more of his gifts don't show, because there's all kinds. There's a Raggedy Ann doll and stuff in the painting, like down here, but I just couldn't get it to fit. So if you order a black zipper, and it's black inside, and then this tag, these tags just rip out. They're no big deal. Just rip them out. Then I got this one, Abraham Lincoln quote. It says, "Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition." Again, Pennsylvania Dutch folk art. This would be such an amazing cross stitch. And so with this, I love Pennsylvania Dutch folk art. "Let us cast off deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light." Romans 13:12. Yeah, same on both sides. But yeah, the printing quality, it's absolutely incredible how well they do and how the color looks like the original paintings. I mean, they just can't be any better. So yeah. The other thing that I ordered just before I left for the retreat is from LaDonna, Samplings of Memories. Or sampling of memories. Oh, I probably should have took them out of these little packages. So she has an Etsy shop, and I will link it in the description box below so you can go check out her good stuff. So I had a couple people comment on my last video that the things I was showing they were blurry, and I apologize for that. The thing that was the most blurry were the floss drop cards, but I wasn't even planning on showing those, so but still, I apologize for that. So now I learned my lesson. It's not very straight, but look at the quality of these. How beautiful. I like how bubbled up, that doesn't make sense. But can you see how much that is raised up? I really love the quality of these, and it says "Believe." It's got a cute little matching green button on it. So yeah, those are cool. So these could be a zipper pull or a scissor fob, whichever floats your boat. I love and adore vintage. Well, you guys know I like vintage postcards, but vintage Christmas art and vintage Santas, I love them. So when I saw these on her website, I just knew I had to have some. So this one has a little holly leaf and a pink little vintage looking button. I just think it's so cute. So in case I do forget to tag her in the description box below, you can screenshot that. That is all her information. So thank you, LaDonna, for your beautiful work. I'm so excited I can use them now. I just knew if I started using them, I'd forget to show you guys, but I really wanted to promote her beautiful work. Okay, guys, so I'm going to do a little history thing for you, because when I was in Amana, I bought 2 sewing birds, and I know I already showed them to you, but I wanted to show you them again because I want you to see the ones I have, and then I'm going to, oh my gosh, I want you to see the bottom of it too. Here, I know I can do this. Okay, so when I showed these to you, I just wasn't really thinking. I just wanted to show you how excited I was that I got these. But what I neglected to tell you is not only is that a pin cushion, but if you push that, see how that opens? I'm going to tell you why they open. The sewing bird tool was designed in the 19th century for hand sewing. Clamped to the edge of a table, it acted as a third hand, keeping the fabric taut as one sewed. By pressing the top and bottom tail together, it opens its beak, which allows the sewer to place the fabric in the beak, holding it securely while stitching a hem or seam. At that time, the sewing machine was not yet invented. Women would buy fabric to make their kitchen towels, sheets, quilts, blankets, aprons, and clothes for the family. This involved a lot of hand sewing. It was a very handy tool to have before the invention of the sewing machine. These beautiful birds began showing up in the American market around 1850. However, you will find sewing clamps throughout England and Europe during the 18th and 19th century. Charles Waterman acquired the patent February 15, 1853, although he had been selling the sewing clamps, or grippers, for a while. Apparently, the ad campaign shows two women on opposite sides of a sewing table. The woman without a sewing bird clamp is bent over her stitchery in an unhealthy posture, while the woman with the sewing bird is upright, showing its health-preserving properties. As the sewing bird became more and more popular, the designs became more varied and elaborate. They could be made of carved ivory, brass, steel, iron, even painted wood. The shapes varied as well from the original bird to a variety of animals, cherubs, and people. Wealthy women had highly decorated sewing birds with intricate carving or embossed details to indicate their social status. The sewing bird became such a mainstream sewing notion that the Mary Frances Sewing Book, or Adventures Among the Thimble People, published in 1913, had a character called Sewing Bird, who was really a sewing fairy. Jane Fryer wrote several books designed to teach young girls domestic skills. Once the sewing machine was invented, they lost their popularity. However, the Singer Sewing Machine Company produced sewing birds until 1980. That information, I will have it in a link below. That is from thesewingbird.net. Then I found more information here at Wisconsin Museum, the Western Illinois Museum. I don't know, it says Wisconsin Museum, very confusing. So I will have a link below to both of these articles. The sewing bird served as an extra hand and was useful whenever material needed to be held taut. A thumb screw attached the bird to a table, and the lower body of the bird is stationary, while the upper body is hinged and there is a spring in the tail. When the upper and lower tail ends were pinched together, the beak would open, allowing the edge of the fabric to be placed in it. When the tail was released, the beak closes on the fabric, holding it securely, while a sewer pulls it taut for stitching. The sewing bird at the museum is approximately 4 inches long from the tip to the beak to the tip of the tail and is made of brass. It has a pincushion in front and a place for an emery ball on its back. The sewing bird was also known as a sewing clamp, hemming clamp, or third hand. Plain clamps to hold fabric were used beginning in the late 17th century. Early in the 18th century, in England, the designs of the clamps evolved beyond the purely utilitarian, and sewing clamps became more elaborate and decorative. The clamps were made of brass, iron, steel, and painted wood. Sewing clamps were made in many varieties: birds, deer, dogs, fish, frogs, snakes, dolphins, cherubs, and people. Some were multi-featured and had additions such as an emery ball, spool or thimble holder, pin cushions, winding reel for thread or yarn, netting hooks, rug braiders, thread cutters, smudge drawers, scissor sharpeners, or other features to help with sewing-related tasks. In the United States, the first sewing birds were called grippers, and they did not become popular until the mid-19th century. For some well-to-do women, a highly decorated and elaborate sewing bird began to be considered a treasure status symbol. As an illustration of wealth, It was an indication that the person had enough disposable income to afford and splurge on purchasing an expensive version of an ordinary sewing tool. For other ladies, the sewing bird represented a romantic token. Young men would give a sewing bird to his intended bride months before the wedding, when she was occupied with numerous sewing projects, preparing her trousseau and sewing items in preparation for her married life. The idea was that while she was sewing and using the sewing bird, the future bride would be reminded of her future husband. The little birds were regarded as a sign of affection and became established as a luxury wedding present from a groom to his bride. Many women would have either a simple or decorative sewing bird in their sewing basket. Plain ones were very common. Sewing played an enormous part in women's lives during the 18th and 19th centuries. Most women spent a large amount of time sewing. Even women of comfortable means sewed and had good sewing skills was considered part of a young lady's education. All girls were given instruction in practical sewing skills and in fancy needlework and embroidery. Proficiency in sewing was considered a required skill in household management. Girls spent time on samplers and other examples of fine sewing skills, and families displayed these pieces as demonstrations of their females' talents. For every woman, the sewing bird would have been a device that helped her and made her work a little easier. The first United States sewing bird patent was granted to Charles Waterman of Meriden, Connecticut in 1853. Waterman's bird clamp was by far the most popular manufactured in the United States, and the type of sewing bird at the museum resembles the type called the Waterman bird, named after the creator, Charles Waterman. The patent info is stamped into the edge of the bird's wing. The vast majority of factory-made American sewing birds have some form of patent information permanently cast or stamped into the piece. The Waterman sewing bird was produced into the 20th century, and there were variations of the design, as well as painted and plated versions. After the invention of the sewing machine, the need for the sewing birds was diminished, but they were still manufactured as novelties. The Singer Sewing Machine Company produced a few as late as 1980. These original inexpensive sewing accessories from the past are now antique collectibles today. The little sewing bird can be remembered as a very popular sewing tool that is little used today, and also as a romantic token of affection from another time. Isn't that cool, you guys? So now I'm like, I want all the sewing birds. I don't need all the sewing birds, but I'll be on the hunt every time I go antiquing now, looking for sewing birds. I didn't realize the story behind it. I didn't realize how long they were available. I didn't realize they had so many different kinds. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, learning about this amazing tool that, like, now I'm even more happy that I got one. I mean, two. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Kristen might be coming into town. She was supposed to come into town on Tuesday and stay with me until the next Monday. And we had some, bunch of plans with our high school friends, but her husband hurt his shoulder and he has to go to the doctor on Tuesday, and he might need surgery. So she might not be coming at all. If she does come, she's coming later than she had planned. So that kind of puts things up in the air as far as how much I'm going to get done. But I want to tell you my plans anyway. My plans are this. I want to continue working on Sally Emerson. I want to get that house done really bad. I also feel like I need to continue working on my Merry Christmas from Carriage House samplings, and then do a little bit more on Barbara Anna's design. So I need to find a rotation between the three of those. Maybe, I don't know. I know how I am though. The minute I say, well, you have to do this on this day and this on this day and then work on this one on this day, I won't do it. I don't like to be told what to do, even by myself. So I need to I want to work on all three of them this week though. And then the Garden of Quilts video, I will get it done. This is the week. It's got to happen. I need to get it done before all of the things that we did it's already going to start being more difficult to recall. That's why I wanted to do the darn video right when I got back, and I just didn't. And that's another major goal this week. The other thing that I want to do is get models out to my model stitchers. I have a bunch of things ready to go. I just need to do the floss toss and get them out the door. So those are my plans this week, and get my calendar done. So there's no way I'm going to finish, like there's no way that the 2023 calendar is going to be all new artwork. I don't have time to finish painting all of it. But I have so much teddy bear art that I did years ago that is still very timely and, you know, viable and work perfectly for the calendar, that I designed for like sewing, oh my gosh, for quilting, fabric, you know, just other like Christmas cards and different things that I designed along the way that involved teddy bears, that I have plenty of art to pull from. So I'm going to do that. I gotta do that this week because I need the art. So anyways, that's it for that. Giveaway time. We didn't have a giveaway last week, so this week we're starting fresh, and this is so the giveaway is going to be whoever wins next week gets to pick one of my new releases, and I will send that to them in the mail. This is the question I want you to answer. What is the strangest thing you've ever accidentally sewn into your piece? I'm sorry, stitch. I got sewing on the mind from the sewing bird. Stitch into your piece. Mine is, you already know now, but I should have told the story first. So I cut the heck out of my 2 fingers last week. Long story, so I'm not going into it. But I cut my fingers. I had Band-Aids on both of my fingers. And they weren't the plastic Band-Aids, they were the fabric-y ones. Well, I'm stitching away, and this one, like, it just wasn't going through very easily, and I just figured it was because I had a lot of thread on the back. I got it to go through, and I'm stitching away. I stitched my Band-Aid to my piece. I like went to move my arm, my hand, my finger, whatever, and the whole piece went with it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So yeah. The other thing that I've stitched into a piece is I had a piece of fabric that was serged around the edge, and they didn't trim off all the little pieces, the extra serged threads, and I stitched one of those to the back of one of my pieces too. And that one, I just cut it and I pulled as many of the little pieces of thread out that I could, and I left the rest in there because you couldn't tell from the front. So now make sure you trim all those off when you get your fabric. I should have done that in the first place, but anyways, those are my weird things that I have stitched into my cross-stitch pieces. So I'm curious to hear yours, and your keyword is going to be accident. I accidentally, or by accident. How about that? It's going to be the word accident, because even if you say accidentally, it will recognize accident in there. So that's your keyword. I can't wait to hear these, because we were talking about it during What You Paint Wednesday, and people were saying they stitched their hair in their piece. Yeah, I can only imagine what we're gonna hear. So thank you guys so much for being here this week and hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to create every day. Bye. Oh, what's her name?
Julia.
Julia, that's right. They took the heads off the cows.
I think Papa's coming up.
Papa's coming up?
I think that.
Ow. You think you hear him? Oh, I dropped Julia's head.
Oh, can you get it? Papa said. Can you get it? Hey,
look at her pretty dress.
Here.
How nice, Bobby. Thank you.
Can you eat it now?
Ew. No, I'm not eating her head. Ew, don't put that in your mouth. No.
That's better, Julia. Let me do Papa coming up.
See, Papa's coming up. Teeny Woo, you're the best dog ever. You're so patient. Aw, I don't think he's up yet, baby.
Papa bag.
Are you finding stuff you want for Christmas in there, Bobby?
Christmas tree and a peg and a peg tree.
A big old tree?
And I have phone.
What else do you want?
There.
What is it?
What's it called?
A car?
What's your name?
Do you guys remember getting the catalog of all the Christmas toys when you were a kid? And it was like 300, 500 pages.
I can.
I would peruse that thing for hours. This is a little catalog Amazon sent me. My kids have been looking at it off and on all morning.
Don't get my hand.
What is she doing?
Don't fool me. Don't.
Where'd he go? Where are you going? My boo boo.